Hello, my name is Charles, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about everybody's classic, how to not be disturbed by any thoughts. We're going to be talking about peace of mind. So a lot of people in today's generation, depression rates are increasing. A lot of people aren't experiencing peace of mind. We got, self-development and self-help is like a huge industry right now because so many people, especially with some of the material comforts, or even in spite of the material comforts, getting better in a lot of societies, with America and places like Japan and all these places with just profound material conveniences and comfort unseen by generations prior. We just find that people are still like miserable, man. Their minds are making a misery out of them. So how do we find that we can be undisturbed, that we can be totally, just peace of mind, relaxed, vibing, pardon my French, and I don't mean to swear, unfrickwithable, I'm not going to use the word, but just unaffected, like to be able to love others and to just be unaffected by the oscillations of the mind and the emotions. How do we get that peace of mind? Now, modern psychology, right, and therapy, modern psychology and therapy for conditions such as BPD and other conditions, anxiety, and obsessive compulsive disorder have used CBT and DBT, kind of reframing thoughts, checking the validity of thoughts. But they all come, I think, even acceptance and commitment therapy, they all come in part. I mean, Brene Brown was a big proponent, but they come in part from ancient wisdom, but also, I mean, beyond all the titles or where it comes from, just, downright direct experience and sensible living, just a nice, gentle look at life. So if peace of mind, right, is such a beautiful thing, and so many people, right, we look at communities like AA and other communities, we look at, benzodiazepine addictions, and people all over just like, I want this peace of mind, man. I want to take a chill pill. It's like, what can we do with peace of mind being so highly sought after? What can we do, or rather, what understanding, perspective, and just clear seeing can we have to arrive at the peace of mind? Not by force or controlling the mind. First and foremost, every great spiritual teacher, and even some of the acceptance and commitment therapy, CBT and DBT, like modern psychology in the West, they all seem to recognize that the fundamental understanding that you can't fight your mind. Don't fight your mind. It's just an unwinnable battle. Never fight your mind. The most you could do, right, if you're trying to control and force all the thoughts, a lot of people will do suppression, right? And even that, it just pops up. Jung will be like, it just pops up in other ways, and it just doesn't work. So how can we essentially have any thought arise within us, any feeling, any idea, any picture in our mind, and be at total peace? Just, be a surfer dude, chilling, peaceful. Like if you compare this to an MMO, I know there's a bit of a nerdy analogy, but if you compare this to an MMO, like imagine, the thoughts or in general, I just mean like afflictive thoughts, but afflictive thoughts, whether they're intrusive or compulsive or negative or angry or any of this, all the thoughts that we can have in our mind that are somewhat afflictive, negative. How can, and just in general, peace of mind always, but how can we, if this was like an MMO and the thoughts and feelings are like spells being casted upon us, how can we have armor that makes us impervious, a sense of being, a sense of peace that remains in spite of the contents appearing in our mind moment to moment? Because wouldn't that just be amazing that no matter what thought, you could be giving a presentation, you could be talking to the love of your life, you could be, doing the most important business deal of your life, billions of dollars, and you just have an ability to keep a peace of mind, unfazed by any of the contents of your experience. Abiding peace. Not peace based on like a condition. It's got to be this way, it's got to be that way. I got to have my desk with two little, pens and not one pen. And it's like, not that kind of peace. An abiding peace that irrespective of what's going on, whatever's popping up for you in your mind, that you have it. So, enough, making peace of mind sound so amazing. How do we get to the understanding that we can actually get it? So in my experience, and I can only honestly speak from my experience, I first got introduced to a level of peace of mind from teachings from, give credit where credit's due, teachings from Alan Watts. And he taught me, or in YouTube video, he didn't teach me, so I'm not the center of the universe. But I learned, first is a perspective. You can have a perspective that the thoughts and feelings and pictures and memories and goals and ideas in your head, you can treat them like the sounds of nature appearing. Like if you're going on a nice, beautiful walk, and you're out in nature, and it's a beautiful scenic area, and there's birds chirping, the stream is gently going by, the stream's gently going by, the autumn leaves are falling, the sights, the sounds, the smells, they're all just coming in, coming out, and it's all peaceful. Now, how do we get to that perspective? Because a lot of people will be like, well, these are my thoughts and my feelings, and they're so identified with the contents of their mind. And so I'd like to, this is going to sound a little, tongue-in-cheek, but I'd like to, introduce the thought to you, if you haven't already had it, that just because you think it doesn't make it true. Doesn't make it you. Is especially the important part, right? It could be true, but it doesn't mean it's you. In the sense that, you have thoughts and you have feelings, but you wouldn't say you are a thought or you are a feeling. For example, all of us have had, we've had thoughts when we were 5, we've had thoughts when we were 10, we'd have thoughts when we were 15, and they have patterns, they have growth and development, but we aren't those thoughts. Because if we were, when the thought went away, we'd be gone. But we're always here. So if we're not the thoughts and feelings, right, then let's, there's one other understanding which will get you to the sounds of nature. And then I'll introduce you to the practice. So how do we actually get there? Step by step. I'll cut to the chase. The second understanding is if we had, think of this. If we had, hunger, we have a sensation in our stomach. I want to get some food, or a burrito sounds nice. That feeling, that thought, or that sensation rather, we don't analyze it. We don't say it's a wrong thought, a right thought. We don't try to push it down. Oh, you're not hungry. You're wrong for being hungry. Don't think the hungry thought. Suppress that. We don't fight at all. We just naturally allow it to arise, if we can get food in that moment, we'll get some food. If we need to finish our task, like for most socially adjusted people, right? It's like you get food for your, if you're done with your task, or maybe you can get food in the moment. You get your little lunch break from work. You get your food. You're hungry. You just naturally eat. When you're hungry, you eat. And so if we can view the hunger, right, which we know is just a natural sensation of the body just requires food. If we can get to the point that in the same way, right, if our body is like that natural signal, or if our hunger is like that natural signal, then the thoughts or the natural sounds and understandings and maybe even action potentials, if you're like a neuroscience guy, of the mind, of the brain, right? So even though, some level of your experience that I know is beyond the physical, the thoughts, right? If you're in a situation where you're watching a scary movie, you might have scary thoughts, scary feelings, a fear. You might be dismissing it. There might be dismissive ideas, right? But it's appearing. It's like the sounds of nature when you are on the walk. The same way the hunger is the natural signal of the body. When you're on the walk, it's the birds are chirping, the leaves are falling, the smells are happening. And in the same way, the brain just thinks thoughts. The heart just beats. The brain just thinks. And so the practice is like this, right? Take the analogy, and I know this is, we'll just get to the practice. I'll do you a favor. So when you're lying in bed, a simple practice, a simple, helpful practice is when you're lying in bed and you're just, maybe you're struggling to sleep or you're just getting comfy, as you watch or as you see your thoughts appearing, as you're planning out the next day, as you're ruminating about the past or whatever it may be, just try to hold the perspective and almost watch your thoughts like they're the sounds of nature, like they're just natural, appearing and disappearing, or more clearly, like you are sitting on the bank of a river and you're watching the sediments of rock, of leaves flow in and out. And you're not forcing them to, you're almost, Rumi had a beautiful poem. He was a great poet, wonderful poet. And he had a poem that was describing thoughts and feelings like wonderful guests and visitors in the house of your soul. They come, let them in, let them spend some time, however long, and they'll naturally dissipate. The same way, take a look at your experience, an honest look beyond all, philosophy, poetry, neuroscience, psychology, spirituality, beyond all that. Take a look at your honest experience. Have you ever had a thought like, I need to get my homework done? Has any thought stayed in your mind your entire life? No, they're coming and going. And they stay a certain amount of time. Now the mind and body have some conditioning. They're reoccurring. They come again. Everything is not just super random. But no thought lasts forever. And they're like guests. You can treat them like sounds of nature. So as a simple way to meditate or practice this without any changing of your schedule or routine, just when you go to bed. So, because we want the least, easiest way to include this to get that peace of mind is every time you go to bed, try it for the next 30 days or even a week. Every time you go to bed, just view your thoughts like the sounds of nature. No matter what thought is appearing, watch it like you're on the bank of that river. Just watch it come, watch it go. Watch it come, watch it go. And some thoughts might stay a little while longer. You might get lost on a train of thought. But every time you'll come back, you'll notice, you'll be like, oh, the thought carried me away, and now I'm back on the bank of the river, and they'll just come and they'll go, and they'll come and they'll go. And you don't have to do anything. The true way to achieve peace of mind through this practice is you'll experientially realize that you don't have to do anything to your thoughts. If you wanted the TLDR, of this, video, it's if you leave your thoughts alone, they leave you alone. They'll just come and they'll go. You can appreciate them, smile at them, use them for succeeding. You can let them go if they're not useful. And they no longer have the grip, because you realize they're just visitors coming and going, not a worry in sight. So I hope this helps. I hope you implement the practice, and as airy-fairy as it may sound, genuinely through your own experience, I know you'll realize, if you continually just watch your thoughts come and go, that if you leave your thoughts alone, they'll leave you alone. Much love to you all, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.